Hey guys, so today I want to talk about PRs, and most specifically I want to talk about not hitting a PR. And where I saw something happen today that really caught my eye was I was watching people do some 500 meter road time trials, and there was something that happened around the 250 meter mark where folks knew they weren't going to set a new personal record. And the change in their stroke rating, their powers per stroke, all of it just was dramatic. And what I found was, because they knew they weren't going to PR, instead of trying to get as close to their PR as possible, they kind of backed off a little bit. With this, it was, why should I suffer so much if I'm not going to win, in essence? And what I want to address is why we should still be trying to win even when we might not win. And where that plays out in the gym would be, I've got a 500 meter row PR of 1:22.6. And I'm rowing, and when you start that 500 meter row, it opens up nice and fast at a 1:19, and then 200 meters in, we're at a 1:21, and we find with 200 meters to go, we've dropped down to 1:24. And then I'll see something happen where this drops down to like a 1:30, and that's when I know the defeat has set in, right? The mental approach to this whole thing has changed, where we are no longer even striving for a 1:23.4. We've just decided just get through it. And what I don't like about that is that on game day, we don't know what our opponent's capable of. When we're looking at the monitor, it's just us, right? I can say that if my PR is the competition, then if I don't beat that, then I didn't win. But what happens in life, if it's me against someone or me against the world, whether it be in sport or mission or business, I cannot predict what the other person is going to do, and therefore, if I don't try my best all the way, I may come up short. So if we think of this as a race against the world, where we're just getting after it, and my goal, to use the rowing example, is a 1:22.6 because I believe that's what it's going to take to win, and my opponent is doing who knows what, and as these things start to drop off, I will find that this piece is still unknown, and if I drop to a 1:30 and end up with a 1:22.6, and when this becomes known, it turns out this is a 1:22.7, then this was good enough. Versus if I allowed myself to sink into this place of defeat and row this 1:30, they may come off and pull a 1:29.2, where if I had hung on to my original strategy and I missed my PR of 1:22.6 and only hit a 1:25, and that was my best, my absolute best, it could have been good enough. And so what I want to encourage folks to do in the gym, and then carry this with you outside of the gym, is to continue striving. Just because we're not going to set a new personal record every time we step to the barbell, every time we sit down on the rowing machine, every time we pick up our jump rope, does not mean that we can't do our best for today. And I think best for today is super meaningful. And if you don't strive for your best for today every single time in the gym, you're leaving too much on the table. And what you're leaving on the table is going to translate outside of here as we deal with things at work, with things at home, a sport that we may play, and who knows where else. So keep striving, and not every effort is going to produce a PR, but that doesn't mean that your best is not going to have significant carryover in your training and in the rest of your life. Right on.